used to always say 198 is where I want my ribs to go. Well, 198 is great if you're holding multiple slabs in a dry cooler. But 202 has been like, this is where they need to be at least. And now some of them, I like to go to 208. That's where my texture's right. But every slab's different too, so you want to feel them. That's the takeaway there. You actually want to probe them and use something, whether it's a toothpick or a skewer of some type or the point on your probe. You want to feel like what that meat's going into it feels like.
Welcome to Malcom Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcom and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcom Reed, and I'm joined by my lovely, talented wife, Miss Southern Shell. We got Tyler on the board today. What's happening, folks? Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Good week?
It's Thursday. Thursday's always a crazy day.
Podcast. This is the second podcast of the 2025 season. 2 in a row. Look at us. Still feels early to me.
It's not early. It's February.
It's Super Bowl. This is a big week.
Yeah.
Super Bowl week. You got big plans?
Not really.
Just some good food.
Yeah.
This is like one of them good holidays. Like, you don't care about the teams in it, really? I mean, I want to see a good game and all, and I don't care if I make it maybe to halftime. See what Kendrick's up to. I'm just interested. No, I haven't placed any bets or anything. You know what I like to do on Super Bowls? I like to do squares.
Yeah.
But I like going somewhere that's got some squares so you can buy them, and it's just totally random. It's like, I wouldn't know who to bet on. If I was going to bet, this is who I'd bet on. I would bet on the Eagles. I just got a feeling. I
put $10 on them.
On the Eagles?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you really? When did you go to Memphis?
When we're coming back from Arkansas.
You did? Okay. Last weekend?
Yeah.
I did win. I won a good bet last week. I bet on Auburn to beat Ole Miss.
I hate the way you bet is ridiculous.
If they would have beat the number one team, I would have gladly lost that $100.
This is his theory. He bets against his team, so he's happy either way.
Hey, I got $400 on the Vikings. I won $400 on that game. I knew they was going to lose. Did not make me sad at all. Of course I would have liked them. I wish they were in the Super Bowl. If they were playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you know who I'd bet on? The Chiefs. And I'd probably bet $800. I have this theory that if I up it, eventually it's going to hit. Because they're going to, you just got to find your team, double against them, and keep doubling, and you'll get it.
You also have this
It's a horrible, don't listen to me for betting. I am not a good gambler at all. All I do is donate. But I'm playing with house money on my DraftKings. I am. I've only put like $100 in way back, and I kind of pick and choose, and I don't just bet crazy or anything. And I've built it up.
You have. You've done good.
I built it up nice. I got like $1,000 in there.
But what drives me
nuts? We put it all on the Eagles.
Let me tell you what drives me nuts is you have a theory that if you bet on your team, they're automatically
somehow my willpower.
Yes, they're going to lose.
No, I'm just playing the odds. Me picking a loser. I also have a theory that if you ask me who I'm betting on and go the other way, you're going to win.
Yeah.
So it's like a win-win thing. I mean, gambling's easy.
It seems smart for you.
I'm a horrible, horrible gambler. And so I'm probably not even going to put any money on the Super Bowl. I might buy some squares if they have like the dollar squares at the country club or something.
Yeah. There was
usually
one year I cleaned up on squares.
Squares. I hadn't seen many this year. Usually, they're doing it for a kid's team or something. They got some squares you can do. I hadn't seen any of that this year.
There was one year we went to a football party or a Super Bowl party, and I cleaned up on the squares.
At Rodney's? Was it Rodney's? Yeah.
I won like $70.
Yeah, because I like the ones where it like pays on the quarter. So you get like first quarter, halftime.
And I won a couple quarters.
Yeah, 2 quarters.
Okay. This isn't a gambling podcast.
Oh, okay.
Hot honey ribs.
Hot honey. That was the first one coming back. I guess that was the first one. We did do a short with some of the duck I cooked.
Mm-hmm.
I did that over on Buck Junkies, but I did also, we released part of it on How to Barbecue Right. But
this is our first YouTube.
Hot honey ribs. First YouTube video of 2025. I was rib hungry.
It's been a minute.
Point simple. I mean, now I hadn't completely not cooked ribs this winter because we had some guests come in and hunt with us at the Buck Junkie camp. And we cooked ribs a couple times for that. But it wouldn't me just cooking them. A lot of times when I'm doing that, I'm entertaining. And I got Mark or somebody else there is running the pit, and they're doing most of the cooking. I mean, I'll jump in and do some stuff. Usually I cut the ribs at the end when everybody's it looks like y'all want to try these ribs I cook. So I've done that a couple times this winter, but this was the first ribs that I cooked start to finish of the new year, and they were outstanding. Tyler, you now I don't know if you're just blowing smoke at me, but you said you thought they were the best ribs that you've ever had that I cooked.
They were really, really good. They were, I don't know, like I like the hot honey, and if you don't like spicy, don't be scared of the hot honey because it's really subtle. It's like an aftertaste. It's almost like a punch of flavor at the end.
It's hot out. It's hot on a spoon, or like if you just use it on something like that. But when you mix it with something that's got a good fat content to it, like greasy ribs, the fatness of the whatever meat you have it on, like tones down. I don't know why it does it, but it tones down the heat level. I've noticed it before when doing ribs. Like we've done some where I really wanted to add some spice, and you have to add a lot more spice than you think. It's like when we were using a rib candy. You could use the double hot rib candy in a wrap because the spice would be toned down. But if you took a teaspoon of that and just put it in your mouth, it would light you up. But cooking it with something and I added a stick of butter to these ribs.
Yeah.
So all that richness is toning down the spice a little bit.
So yeah, when I took a bite, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like these. They might be too hot for me, but they were really nice.
And I used hot sauce as a binder, so I had some heat there. I used my hot rub, had some heat there. And we used the hot honey, and the vinegar sauce has some heat to it too.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 4 elements that had spice that somebody that says they don't like spice, they would probably think it was spicy, just individually. But when you did all that on a rib, it was nice. The sweetness played nice, the smoke played nice, the richness played nice, and the heat was just right.
Well, what was the idea for hot honey ribs? Where'd that come from?
So I was thinking that I want to do something that's kind of got some sweet and some heat because normally, throughout the year, I'm sick of eating sweet barbecue. But the first one of the year, I could say, okay, that could be a little sweet. And I just thought the sweet and spice would go right. And we've used the hot honey. It's in a rib recipe that we do for competitions too. And I was just like, I'm not saying that was a competition recipe, but it's a dang good eating rib.
I bet that would do well at a competition.
I think it would too, because it's not too much of anything. It's not too spicy. It's not too sweet. It's not too hot. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just right.
Right
in the middle.
It'll please a lot of people, but it has enough flavor that it stands out.
If you were wanting, I would say this: if you're wanting a hot rib, like a really spicy one, you're gonna have to amp it up some more because that one was what heat level would you give that on a 1 to 10?
I mean, like a 3.
Oh, wow.
Really?
You thought it was that much. I wouldn't have guessed 3. I would
I'd
say
say
5,
6,
6.
7. Yeah.
Because I was going to say, if you like it real spicy, they sell the mics like spicy.
They do have a hotter
hot.
honey. It's hotter honey or extra hot honey or something like that.
And that, I think, would pack a punch, especially when you drizzle it at the end.
Yeah. And there's other spicy honeys. Mike's just the brand that our Kroger has. And I get that over in the cheese section at the Kroger. It's not on the aisle with all the honeys and the peanut butters in that aisle or whatever.
It's a good quality honey.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know how much natural, when they start mixing stuff with it, is it real? I don't know.
And when I say
if you've got a local spicier honey, I'd suggest trying that over the Mike's.
But my kids, I brought home a whole rack for my family to eat for dinner, and my kids ate no problem, and they won't really eat spicy stuff. So
yeah, Michael destroyed what we had left over. We took home too. He told me they were really good.
I made him some baked beans and some coleslaw to go.
He had a full blown barbecue dinner that night. So that's the thing on cook days. We don't really cook dinner at home because I've sampled stuff. And so you don't want to eat a big dinner after that. And so we bowl of cereal,
Raisin Bran.
Yeah. Get something with a lot of fiber in it. And we let him eat the leftovers.
So, you took these ribs. You bought. Does it matter?
No, you could use them
spares
baby backs
or baby backs,
whatever. Yeah, this recipe would work with whatever ribs. The basics of it, and you're going to cook them a little different, but not really though. Baby backs and spares cook about the same.
You just don't have the trimming.
Yeah, there's not as much. You still want to take that membrane off, and even when I'm cooking baby backs, I'll knock the end bones off. Just like it makes a neater slab. And you notice when I did it on the spare rib. So what I did, I usually try to get them down to about 10 bones. And so I'll dock one off the thick end and then dock 2 or 3 of the little floaters off the bottom end, and that'll give me 10 good bones. And sometimes it's 11 bones. So if it's ugly, sometimes it's 9 bones. It depends on what the look. But I'm just going for a good square, even size rack of ribs. And then a lot of times when you buy these St. Louis cut ribs, they have broke them off the rib tip, but they leave a good bit of it on. So you can get them, and you could cook them with that on too if you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't.
It's just extra meat and cartilage and gristle to gnaw around. There's some meat there. So, but if you really want it perfect, I dock them down and knock that off. So when you get that bite of rib, you're not eating that knuckle, because you do have to take it out of your mouth, and some people don't like that. I mean, I don't know why. I like gnawing on it, but for aesthetics, it makes a prettier rib to clean them up a little bit.
Yeah, they look like like a picture perfect magazine rib
right.
that way.
And that's the way I would do them in a contest. I would do the same thing. I would dock that off and knock them down, and I'd definitely pull the membrane. And then even on the top side, the meat side, if you noticed, I trim some of the fat. Sometimes you get them and there's thick pockets of fat, and you need to trim some of that down. Sometimes the fat will render. You can score it a little bit. And then sometimes there's a little bit of sinew over that thick end. And I always try to get my knife under it and remove it because it's a barrier. Just like the membrane on the other side, it's a barrier.
And it's a tough bite.
And it's a tough bite, yeah. When you bite into that, I mean, it's usually only over 1.5 ribs maybe on the end. But I don't want those ribs to be good too. They're not throwaways,
Yeah.
You want it all to be good.
So you trimmed them up. You used hot sauce as a binder.
Yep. And really I was doing that. I mean, I want some of the heat, but I like the color that it kind of puts down on the meat, so it makes them real pretty.
It does. It goes ahead and gets
it gets that vinegary tone, and vinegar goes great with pork. So that's really, and if you're using a hotter hot sauce, that's one way to add some more heat to these ribs. Use something that use one of Da Bomb or something like that. I don't know. You'd light somebody up with that. But the my Killer Hogs hot sauce, it's a garlicky, flavorful hot sauce. It's
like a Frank's Red Hot.
I call it a table hot sauce. It's something that you could just do something just to give it a little bit of vinegar, a little spicy punch, but it's not too hot.
Yeah, it's my favorite hot sauce because I don't like them too hot.
I mean, it's good on eggs. I'll probably eat it on eggs when I do anything.
I had it on chicken salad the other day.
It's great. Chicken salad on a cracker with a little dash or two of Killer Hogs hot sauce.
And then you came back after you put the hot sauce on them. You came back with a hot rub.
Hot rub only. No layering rubs, just a good dose of hot rub. Covered them really well, just wanted to get it on there and let it start sweating in. And that's when I fire up the pit when after I get the seasoning on, because I want them to sit there at room temp because they've been in the refrigerator. They've been ice cold. Let them set out a little bit. Let that seasoning start melting in. It slicks it over and looks really good.
So then you fired up the pit, 275, hickory wood.
Yep. Started with a base of just royal oak. A couple tumbleweeds underneath it, got them getting hot. When you got a cold bed, you're ready to add sticks. You could do this on any pit. I kept my temp steady at 275. So if your grill can do 275, your time should be about like mine, 2 hours in the smoke, and then some time in the wrap, and then a rest, and then glaze them. It's that easy.
So when you wrapped them, you mixed up a sauce, and it was pretty simple. It was vinegar, brown sugar, Mike's Hot Honey, and what was the fourth element?
Apple juice.
Apple juice.
Yeah. So what I did, I put the ribs on, and you can make that up whenever you want to. I put the ribs on to smoke, and then immediately made that wrap juice, the wrap juice. I put it into Pyrex, and I pop it. I just put those 4 ingredients: the brown sugar, the apple juice, the Mike's Hot Honey, and the vinegar sauce. You need about 1.5 cups total to do 3 wraps. I figure I want about 1/2 cup per slab of ribs I'm doing. So
that'll kind of a good measurement, regardless of what you're putting in your wrap.
I think so. About 1/2 cup. Even if you're just pouring apple juice in, or barbecue sauce, or I don't know. I'd kind of watch. I probably wouldn't put a whole 1/2 cup of straight barbecue sauce in there. You could get away with it with vinegar sauce because vinegar sauce it's real thin. But I've never done just 1/2 cup of straight barbecue sauce in the wrap. I'd be afraid it'd burn. It's a lot of sugar. I mean, I'm putting a lot of sugar in that wrap.
You got the apple juice is brown
sweet,
sugar.
The brown sugar's sweet, and the honey's sweet. So you have to watch putting that much sugar in a wrap, because if your heat's really coming hard, like your 275 is hard heat from underneath, like in a drum or something, you'd want to protect the bottom side a little bit with a diverter or a little piece of foil over the fire. But, just think about that. We are putting sugar in that wrap, and sugar will burn after a period of time. So if you're having trouble with your ribs getting too dark in the wrap, it's probably,
a sugar
where the heat's hitting them. Yeah. And the sugar's burning.
I've seen that happen.
Oh yeah. I've done it. Not on purpose. I've done it on the Primo before, just because I wouldn't think it, and my heat was right up under it, and it was hotter than the dial temp. That's what you got to watch.
Yeah, I remember that. We had to scrap that video that day.
Yep. I had to start over. But anyway, that can happen. But yeah, they went in. So I made my wrap juice up and I let it sit on the counter for, I think I smoked these ribs right at 2 hours to get the color right. But it's really not that it always takes 2 hours. I let the color of the rib and the way the rub is adhering to the meat dictate how long I go in the smoke. I mean, yes, typically it's going to be somewhere between about 155 and 170 internal. The color should be right. It should be kind of that mahogany color, starting to get dark, but not too dark. And the rub should, when you rub it with your finger, and you can see me do it in the video, it shouldn't come off and my finger be orange looking. The seasoning should be kind of infused into the meat, and that's what happens when you let it smoke for the right amount of time. If you're picking these ribs up and then your fingerprints are all orange and you can see where you touched them, you didn't let them go in the smoke long enough before you wrap them. So you just want that rub to stick really good and for them to start having that right color. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not really worried. I never really probe them to tell me when I'm going to wrap. It's just that's what temperature ends up being. Yeah, it's all look.
So you wrap them when they look good.
Meat side down, double layer full. I took a half a cup of my wrap juice, kind of drizzled it over the top, and then I took 1 stick of butter, and I used the Kerrygold Salted Irish. Oh, so good.
I was going to ask you why Kerrygold.
Just because it's a good butter. It's high. It's expensive, but it's a good butter.
Rich.
It's rich.
It is rich. Why is it?
Because it's maybe, I don't know, what the sheep from or cows from Ireland. Tastes
it's
better.
Good.
They don't eat all the chemical food that our cows eat, I guess. I don't know why it's so good, but it is good butter.
So stick
They don't
butter.
pay us anything. It's just what we start using, and we do use that in comps.
It'd be cool.
It'd
be cool if they paid us.
It smells so good when it's cooking, you know. But anyway, I took that stick of butter and I cut it in half longwise, so you got 2 planks, and it pretty much covers that, you know, the full slab. So as it melts, that butter's just getting over all of them. And that's all I did. I wrapped them up to where I could get back in them easy, put them back on the pit, all 3 racks. And I did put the ThermoWorks RFX in them because I kind of wanted to see. I never put a probe in.
What's the ThermoWorks RFX?
It's the wireless internal meat probe that they have, and they sent me one, and I think we gave one away. We did give one away here before. Was that before Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
But that's man, that thing's been awesome so far. And now I have 3 or 4 more probes, so I can run. I could have put. I didn't have them at the smokehouse, or I would have put one in all of them. I like this thing, man, because I was like, is it going to work wrapped up in full through the pit and be able to read outside? And as long as you keep that, like I had the transmitter over on the end of the bar, it wouldn't pick up. That was probably about 10, 12 feet. But when I moved the transmitter to the opposite end that was closer to the pit, picked up fine. So you need that transmitter fairly close to the pit, and then it'll read to your app that you have connected. I think it's via Wi-Fi, so I could really see it from anywhere. Like if I left the smokehouse and went home,
you could
come back to the shop or had to go to the store, it'd still send me alerts.
Tyler, how many probes did you say that would work with?
72.
Is that
72.
true?
That's what they say.
Huh. 72.
Is that true?
We should maybe try.
I could put 72 butts on the big old hickory and we could probe every one of them and see.
It's going to be a lot.
That's a lot of probing, man.
I don't know how you would label them or even know which ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too intense.
So anyway.
I do like knowing the internal temperature stuff, and I used to never probe ribs. And when I started probing ribs, it's like, man, the rib game, they're on point every time. It's like a no guess, you know, it ain't, I don't know, you call it cheating, call it using a crutch. I don't care what you call it. I just call it wanting to cook the best food I can cook, you know. Takes the guesswork out. I still, you know, I'm going to check the bones, see if the bones are drawn back. I'm going to see if they'll spin loose. I'm going to see if the slab's bendy when I pick it up. I don't just go by one thing alone when I'm looking
it's
for
just
my
another
ribs.
factor that you're using to
and
help you
I
make the best decision.
I still use the handheld thermometer to probe them and see where they are because I'm looking to see what it feels like. I don't care what the dial says. I want to see. I mean, I want it to be close to I was just checking to see that, but I wanted to see what the feel's like. How does that probe feel going into that meat? 'Cause that tells you if it's tender. If you're having to fight it, might need to go up. And I've seen ribs do that. Like, you know, I used to always say 198's where I want my ribs to go. Well, 198's great if you're holding multiple slabs in a dry cooler. But 202 has been like, this is where they need to be at least. And now some of them, I like to go to 208. That's where my texture's right. But every slab's different too, so you want to feel them. That's the takeaway there. You actually want to probe them and use something, whether it's a toothpick or a skewer of some type, or the point on your probe. You want to feel like what that meat's going into it feels like.
So then once you decided they were tender.
Yep, I held them.
So why hold ribs?
So we did an experiment on this, and taking ribs off the pit and immediately opening them up and glazing them, and you don't get near as good a texture, and that's that bite. And I don't know if the rest relaxes them, if it lets them continue to cook, so you're actually carrying over a little bit further, you're stopping them, and then you're just letting them, because, whenever you take something that's been pushed up to 200 degrees, there's going to be some carryover effect to it. Now, what I do know is when you get ribs up to where they're done, they're perfectly tender, they're not going to climb as fast. So they're not going to carry over as far. But, if I stop that rib and it's 206, 208, it's probably going to go about 212, 215 maybe.
And you're okay with that?
And I'm okay with that as long as I'm giving it time to come back down, letting them lock back up a little bit, because they're getting super tender at that temp. But as they cool back down, the meat wants to tighten up. I guess the protein strands in it it's kind of doing a relax and a contract. And so they're contracting a little bit, but we've nuked them and cooked them apart. And so, everything's kind of letting go in it. So it's not going to go super back tight, but just trust me. The rest makes the texture better. If there's one thing I could contribute the rest to for ribs, is it makes the texture better.
I think
now resting them further than an hour, we found, is not good either. The 1 hour mark is where, when we tested and we cooked case after case after case of ribs to see where the perfect hold temp was, and it was an hour. We didn't gain anything from that second, third, fourth hour. In fact, they started going down once you got out too far.
And they stay perfectly warm enough.
Oh yeah, an hour. Especially when, I had 3 in that cooler. That cooler that I have, the little party stacker, that it's perfect for 6 slabs, or it'll do 8 baby backs really well too. Side by side, you can do 4 and 4.
You can do 2 butts.
You can do 2 butts. You can do a whole
3.
brisket. Yes, I don't know.
You can
definitely do 2. But you can't find those anymore. Tyler found some. What somebody had before on Amazon, like $70-$80, something crazy. A $19.99 cooler when you could get them.
It was like, I saw them as high as $170 on eBay.
That's somebody's got to knock those off and make that same cooler. It's just a cheap molded.
Yeah, they used to be $20 when we would.
Was it Coleman brand or something?
Coleman Party Stacker.
I don't know why they.
You can hold a case of beer in them too.
24 gold tops. It's a perfect Superbowl. Well, what I like about it is you stand all your drinks up in it, ice it down, you take the lid off, and it's like a server. So if you're at a party or somewhere, you just got your drinks cold. It could be Cokes, it could be whatever, but it's perfect for that. In fact, that's why we originally started. We didn't buy them the whole meat in. We were buying them for the party.
It's just a lucky.
They had a double party stacker that would hold 48. They had a bigger one. I mean, they used to make all kinds of them.
So, why set the rub, then set the sauce?
For looks. Well, so whenever I put a half a cup of wrap juice in and a stick of butter, that's going to do a number on the ribs. Now, a lot of times they come out, they don't look near as pretty as they did when they went in. Now, I will say this. These hot honey ribs looked really good. Because when I flipped them out to the camera, I don't like doing that. Because when I show them to you, they're pretty ugly. They look washed off. They're kind of on these. I looked at them first. I was like, oh, let me show y'all these. This is what they look like coming out of the rib. So they look really, really good. But that's all it's about. It's about because all that liquid's going to wash off some of your seasoning. You're going to lose a little bit of it. So I get a little bit of more color back, and I set that and just, kind of gives me a foundation for them to be pretty. And then I glaze them. And I do both sides the same way.
I used to do that with chicken.
Yeah.
In contests, yeah.
You would reset a little seasoning on top of a thigh.
It makes the biggest difference if you want something pretty.
Yep.
Set the rub, let it go. Because if you do rub and immediately sauce, it's just going to wipe the rub off.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's so much, because some of it's baked in, the rub, that's kind of why we smoked it in.
Yeah.
But what it does, it washes it off in places, and so it looks splotchy.
Yes.
And so when you put that light coat of rub back over, and it don't have to be the hot rub. I just did that for the heat factor. But it could have been like the barbecue rub. It makes it really pretty. So if you got a really good rub that's got some nice color to it, you just want to pop and it's not too offensive. Like I don't go changing flavors and trying to do something that's going to clash with what I'm doing, but it's all for looks.
Yeah, and you need to use a pretty rub, bright rub.
Yep. So the hot rub bar's great. It's got a beautiful color and it gives you a little bit of spice. And I like that. See, the salts and the peppers and stuff, they're not cooked down in it. So you get that pop of them. You get the what little, what heat's in it. You get that taste and you get the what sweetness is in there and a saltiness. It's just a pop on your tongue.
And then sauce them. So you rub him, put him back on, let him go 5 minutes.
I go meat side down first. We're doing the back side, a little bit of rub, 5 minutes. I sauce straight out the bottle. I use the barbecue sauce. You could use whatever you wanted there. But anyway, brush that on, light, thin layer. Let that set 7 minutes, and it kind of tackies it up. And then I flip them over, and I put a little rub on the top side, put them back in for 5 minutes, take them out, a little more sauce. Now for these, I added a little more of the Mike's Hot Honey on top.
You added a pretty good bit.
But it's probably, I would say, yeah. I mean, I put a good drizzle, and then I took my brush and kind of blended it so it's smooth, so it wouldn't look like lines. And then I put them back on for 7 minutes, and it was just like magic. It slicked over.
They're pretty.
The sauce looked great on it.
You could have turned those in for comp ribs.
I mean, I wouldn't be scared to.
And they were good.
They were really good.
Ribs are not my favorite of the barbecue.
Especially a sauced rib.
Yeah.
You're more dry seasoned.
Yeah, a Texas-style rib. But those are pretty good.
Yep. I thought they were fantastic. Now, it could have been biased because I hadn't ate ribs in a minute, and I definitely hadn't cooked them, all the way through probably since hunting season. But
being rib hungry makes them taste a little better.
Tyler, I think that was the effect you had too. Like you hadn't had ribs. None of us had really had ribs in a minute.
Mm-mm.
I want to talk to you about some Super Bowl recipes, but first we need to take a little break, pay some bills.
All right. The How to Barbecue Right podcast is brought to you by our friends at Primo Grills. Shell, did you know that Primo is the only ceramic grill made right here in the good old USA?
What? Are you telling me that Primo Grills are proudly crafted here in the USA, ensuring top-notch quality and support for local craftsmanship?
I sure am. Plus, Primo Grill not only delivers mouth-watering flavor, but because of their innovative oval design and superior ceramic construction, Primo Grills also gives you a ton of cooking versatility.
Whether you're smoking low and slow or searing a steak to perfection, Primo Grills gives you the consistent heat distribution for mouth-watering results every time.
What she said, y'all. Y'all visit PrimoGrill.com and check them out.
For your Super Bowl recipe this week, you did the Brotherly Shove mini subs.
So
I love that name.
So I was thinking, here's what I was thinking. I did the ribs, and I didn't say anything about them being from Kansas City or Chiefs, but that's kind of
It was a nod.
I could see you giving, a nod to the Kansas City style of barbecue on those ribs, a little bit. So, that was for the Chiefs. Then I wanted to do something for the team that I hope wins the Super Bowl, and that's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. And what do they do in Philly? Well, they do cheesesteaks. Well, I'm not going to, I was like, well, I don't want to
step on that grenade.
No, I'm not. I've done that. Those Philly people will chew you up over how to make a cheesesteak. So to go along with the little Philly Eagles statement, kind of giving them a nod.
You did mini subs.
I did mini subs. They're kind of like little mini types of a Philly cheesesteak element roll,
But you didn't use steak, you used grilled beef.
I did, and I liked it. I liked it. And I think that is a cheesesteak is not bad. It is not bad.
What would you call that? Loose meat? Is that what they call it? Loose meat sandwiches?
Kind of. What, Tyler, you said you had something similar to it, didn't you?
Like chopped cheese?
Chopped cheese sandwich or something like that. But that's kind of what it is. So when I think of a Philly cheesesteak, I think of first some type of beef. Most of the time it's like thinly sliced steak, ribeye, and they throw it out on the flat top and they chop it up, and then they have their piles of their peppers and onions to the side. I don't know if they do mushrooms there, but they, pile that up on a nice roll and they put the cheese whiz all over it. And I was like, well, let's do a little different. Let's do that in a mini version. Let's take the beef element. I'm going to use ground beef instead of steak. I'm going to add mushrooms. I'm going to do me some onions, some diced up green peppers, and some sliced baby bellas. I'm going to do that. I'm going to combine it, and I'm going to cheese it up. And when I talk about cheese it up, now we buy this, I think it's it's like Kroger private selection brand, American sliced deli cheese.
White American.
White American cheese.
It is the best cheese.
It's so much better than the peel 'em wrap things.
I'm pretty.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Kraft ain't got nothing on that.
The singles.
Yeah, Kraft singles cannot hang. Even the white American version of Kraft singles.
Those are
hang.
terrible.
Yeah.
I think it's Land O'Lakes. I think that's the brand.
You think that's what Private Selections is using?
Oh no,
it's
it is private selection. If you get it at Walmart, it's the Land O'Lakes.
Yeah, but the Land O'Lakes is the best.
Yeah, I think so too.
It makes the best queso. We're going to talk about that. I had a question,
okay.
But we're going to talk about that. So here's what I did. I had my ground beef and my vegetables all sauteed up on the flat top and used some of that butter oil, got them going good. And then I took, I think 4 or 5 slices of that cheese and laid it over it. And then I took a half-size pan, aluminum pan, and squirted me a little water down and stuck that over it so it'd steam and melt that cheese. And then, so it didn't take, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute.
You did that
Yeah, I'm getting there. That was round 1 of cheese. Then I took that lid off and I took my spatula and I just kind of folded that cheese up into it and then spread it back out again and then re-cheesed it again, 4 or 5 more slices. Put the lid back on, had a little enough water in there to give it some steam, melted that, folded that up. I've been double cheesed it. Triple cheesed it. I did it one more round, and that was how we finished these. And so while that meat was sitting over to the side underneath the steam pan, kind of getting happy with the cheese all incorporated into it, I bought the King's Hawaiian mini sub rolls.
Yeah.
There's like 6 in a little tray.
They're already split.
Yeah, they're split in half. And so I took Blue Plate mayonnaise, quality since 1927. Instead of putting butter on the outside, I brushed Blue Plate on the outside and I laid those on the flat top.
So I like this idea. So you didn't do the inside like what people typically do. You did the outside
first, but I did do the inside.
Oh, you did do the inside too?
Yeah.
I like the crust on the outside.
So I did the inside and let it get toasty.
So you
flipped them over.
Both sides.
Yeah, and I brushed the top, the bread side, and then I flipped it back over. The bread toasts so fast on there. You got to keep the flat top down like on low or it'll burn it up. But then I flipped them all, had them all toasted, looking beautiful, and I just took my spatula and transferred that meat, cheese, and veggie mixture over on the rolls and put them together and then put them on a tray. And then here comes the last cheese element, the jar o' Cheese Whiz. Now, you had to search for this. Kroger didn't have it, but I could find.
It was hard to find Cheese Whiz.
You found it at what aisle was it on at Walmart?
It was by the Velveeta.
Oh, so that's where I looked at Kroger and they didn't have any. They had the jarred parm and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they did not have cheap Kraft
They
Cheese
had
Whiz.
one SKU that was Cheese Whiz. No generic, no knockoff, no nothing.
So we just warmed it up in a bowl in the microwave and it gets loose because Cheese Whiz is kind of stiff in the jar.
Mm-hmm.
You warm it up and it melts a little. And I ladled that over it. And I was like, I've added so much cheese to these things. You probably call them tush push slices.
That was the joke.
You're gonna be working. You're gonna be working after you eat those. But our old man will. I don't know. Young people, Michael can just eat 2 pounds of cheese a day. But the Brotherly Shove mini subs.
They're good.
That was the recipe.
And I have a hot take.
All right, let me have it. Cheese
Whiz, it's fine, but it's nowhere good as nacho cheese.
Yeah. Oh, you think nacho cheese would be better on it?
Oh, no, I'm just saying in general. If you tasted Cheese Whiz.
By itself? Yeah, Cheese Whiz is just horrible by itself. It's not a good cheese. I don't know why they put it on like authentic Philly cheesesteaks. It's like that crap. I mean, the Private Selection American is way better. Mm-hmm. And I would say I probably like provolone better on a cheesesteak than I do just Cheese Whiz.
Any real cheese.
Yeah.
Remember last week when we said that bologna and Vienna sausages were cousins?
Yeah.
They weren't the same, but they were cousins. I feel like Cheese Whiz is nacho cheese ugly sister.
Yeah, something. Yeah, weird cousin.
Weird cousin, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not a huge fan of the Cheese Whiz, and that's the only time I buy it when I'm doing a recipe on a cheesesteak. Because even when I'm making cheesesteaks, I'm not putting it on them.
No. Would you put nacho cheese on it?
No, I don't like it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, now don't get me wrong, it was good on these sliders. It took it, it was good, but it had all the other elements.
Yeah, I mean, it went.
But nacho
It's
cheese
fine.
would probably work too. I mean, you could have put it in the pump. We could have got the big thing of Rico's.
That's
Had
definitely
it
a
in there,
football
and then you could
food.
put it on. Yeah, and you could take your mini subs and run them right down it. Get you some nacho, or just have you a bowl of nacho cheese that you just dip it in.
It's not.
I
the
wanted to
same.
do that in the video, but I knew people were going to say, you can't dip in there or whatever because it's a party food and you don't want everybody dipping in there.
It's sure.
So I ladled.
It's your video. You can do what you
I
want.
can do what I want. Yeah.
That's what Steak Escape uses is the Rico's nacho cheese.
Do
Is it
they?
really?
Yeah, I used to work there, and they have a secret menu, and on the secret menu, it's called the Original Philly. If you ask for it, it'll be your cheesesteak with the nacho cheese on top.
But it's Rico's.
Rico's.
But I don't think the original Philly is really nacho.
No, I don't think actually
No.
authentic or anything. No, but
But that's what they do. Because they don't sell Cheese Whiz in a number 5 can, do they?
I'm sure somewhere they do.
They probably institutional Cheese Whiz.
Yeah.
Well, see,
I wonder if
Cheese Whiz doesn't have the nacho taste. Nacho cheese has kind of a Mexican-y Southwest Texas flavor.
Mhm.
It's a flavored cheese product. Cheese Whiz is just like supposed to be American cheese flavored, but it doesn't.
I wonder if there's like a better brand of Cheese Whiz that I'm
I
just.
don't think so.
I
don't think so.
It's not like the maple syrup.
Yeah.
I've homemade it before, and I feel like it still has that taste to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got an idea of something to do, another version of that, and it's going to be even better.
So aside from that, do you have a favorite football food recipe? What's your favorite football food?
Man, so I was thinking about that because I saw one of the posts in the community was like, what's on your football menu? And I talked with Greg on the Barbecue Central show. This was my week to go on his show. Shout out to the Barbecue Central show. I'm on there once a month, the first Tuesday of every month, first segment. Y'all can tune in and listen to some hot takes with me and Greg. But anyway, the thing was, what are you having for the Super Bowl? And one thing I absolutely have to have is wings. Like,
You're a wing guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to have a Super Bowl party or get together or go somewhere to watch a game and not have wings. So I would say that's what I start with. The next must-have is probably pulled pork because we do barbecue nachos with it.
Like barbecue nachos.
We do
with
sliders with it, and there's never any left over. I mean, I just think people like.
It's easy. You feed a lot of people.
Feed a lot of people. I cook it the night before. I ain't cooking all day. That's really my thing with Super Bowl food. I want to do as much prep as I can the day before to where I can enjoy all the stuff on Super Bowl Sunday. So I don't want to have to, be cooking a ton of stuff that's really involved. I'm not cooking a brisket for Super Bowl or nothing like that. I'm cooking, easy stuff. Well, I think it's easy, but the butt's not hard. But you got to have a dip. We always talk about dips. I'm having queso. That was a question somebody had in the community. We'll talk about that here in a minute.
Pretty much all the things that you would categorize as football food,
Yeah.
I feel like is pretty much my favorite food.
Of anyway?
Yeah.
What's your favorite food? Football food? Yeah.
Snacks.
Meats and cheeses?
You usually don't have
that.
ribeyes there, but for the most part.
No, yeah. No, I'm not cooking steak for football,
So last year you
You need sliders of some type. You need wings. You need lots of cheese. Lots of cold gold tops.
last year you did pizza
dessert.
salt. Will you quit?
Get happy.
Last year you did pizza sausage balls.
Yes, those were good.
Those were really good.
Really good.
They were, you used Italian sausage, you chopped up some pepperoni really fine and used mozzarella and pretty much made a typical sausage ball and then dipped them in marinara. They were really good.
Really good.
That
tastes like a pizza.
Yeah, it did taste like a pizza. You also did those honey jalapeno chicken bites.
Those are good.
Yeah,
It kind of has elements of, the hot honey rib a lot of ways.
pretty much. Yeah. You had little jalapenos on each little bite.
Each
They were
little
good.
bite.
And you also did those country style ribs where you seasoned them with Asian flavors and then grilled them with the Buffalo Wild Wings Asian scene.
Yeah, see, that's really not something I want to do for Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, is it a football food? Kinda, I guess, but
That was some of my
Yeah.
favorites. And you did the skirt steak sliders. Those
are
are
good
pretty
too.
good.
Those are good. Anything you can slide. There used to be one we did where it was a pork tenderloin slider. And we would take these to Super Bowl parties. I remember taking them to Rodney's. I think the one where you won on the squares. But that you make a pesto. So you make these, you do the little pork tenderloins and you slice them thin. And then you make this pesto sauce, or buy a jar of pesto. I think was what we did to make it easy. But then you make this mayo. Was it like a capers?
Caper lemon mayo.
Yeah. So it was
kind of aioli,
I guess it would be an aioli, but we're from Mississippi. That's a mayonnaise. But yeah, and they went on Hawaiian rolls or slider buns, and man, those were good little football sliders.
It was like pesto on bottom, then your cooked to perfection pork tenderloin sliced, and then the
something like that works.
Caper mayo on top.
If you have to eat a rib, I don't know, it's a little too messy. If you got to eat, even country style ribs or something like that, but anything you can put on a little slider bun, or you can eat on like meatballs. Me and Tyler talked about that yesterday. I mean, those meatballs are hard to screw up. I mean, you can throw them in some sauce, any kind of sauce. They're great in a tomato sauce. They're great in a barbecue sauce. They're great in a mustard sauce. And you can smoke them, and then you can transfer them to a crock pot and keep them warm and just leave the lid off and have a little shot glass of toothpick sitting there, and people will devour them.
Yeah, I like walking by and just
grabbing a ball. Yeah. Those and the little Smokies, man. I like little Smokies.
Yeah. Too. Chili's always a really good one because it feeds a lot of people.
Chili works.
And you can do a chili bar.
Well, do you know a lot of people eat chili cheese nachos? So, and it's not something we do a lot, because when we think of making nachos, we're usually thinking of barbecue nachos.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they'll put chili and nacho cheese on nacho chips.
My only problem with that is it's too messy.
It's very messy, yeah. But that opens up for doing dogs. If you got chili, when I have chili, it's like I got to have a dog. So that kind of goes along with football food too.
And anything with jalapeno, cream cheese, and wrapped in bacon.
Yeah.
And I'll say you do the best ones that I've ever had, because the pepper is always completely cooked. The meat is still is not overcooked. Mm-hmm. The cheese is still there, and the bacon's fully cooked, and everything just bites through. Because the worst thing is having one of those where the bacon is not cooked, or the
bacon's raw and chewy, or not raw, but it's just chewy.
It's chewy. The pepper's chewy. The meat's overcooked.
The meat's well done. Just isn't good. Yeah.
So what's your secret to like a popper?
I mean, I don't really have a secret. I mean, I think what the biggest thing is, I mean, I try not to put too much meat on it, and I try not to put too much cheese in the pepper, and you got to get the pepper soft. So, I mean, how do you
cook them? Do you normally do them on charcoal grill?
Yeah, I usually do it. I usually do it in indirect heat, and you can do them on a smoker. The smoker does fine, but I like them to take about 35, 45 minutes. That gets the pepper soft enough, but you can also cheat on those peppers a little bit and get them a little pre-cooked so they soften up. You can throw them in the oven, or you can throw them in a microwave for a few minutes. And it doesn't change them too much. You don't want them so pliable they're not, you can't stuff them and wrap them, but it gives them a little bit of a head start. And also if you like making those and you don't want to make them too spicy, don't use jalapenos. Use those little tricolored sweet peppers. They'll do the same way. You can do those.
Yeah, you've been using those a lot here lately.
Yeah, because a lot of people they say the jalapeno's too hot or whatever, so I'll use those.
They're good.
They are good. They're kind of sweet. I mean, they don't have any heat at all. I'll tell you, one of my favorite ways is to use those and to use the cream cheese that's already has the jalapeno in it. So you get that element, so you get some spice, and so it kind of tricks you into thinking you're eating jalapeno, but it's really just flavored.
And another good one that I always like is spicy chicken sliders, like we served at the brewery or whatever.
It's where you can smoke some whole chickens and pull them.
Pickled red onions.
That makes it.
White barbecue sauce. Pulled chicken.
Yep. Sauce it up when you pull it.
On a slider.
That's where you get your spicy from, and man, they're good. You can go any kind of style with that too. If you want to make buffalo chicken sliders or barbecue chicken sliders, or white barbecue sauce on the slide. I mean, that works. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can go with that.
So, one of the questions talking about queso. One of the questions from community is from Rick.
I saw that, and I think so. There's kind of three ways you can go there, Rick.
So his question is, he's looking for a queso.
Yeah.
Good queso recipe.
So when I think, automatically the first one I think of, you need to make rotel.
That's like
everybody loves rotel. If you don't eat Velveeta and rotel tomatoes and green chilies with some sausage, maybe a little cream cheese too. Oh man, it's so good. And that's a crock pot. You brown up your sausage, you cube up your Velveeta cheese, you add your Rotel to it. I don't drain it. I don't do anything to it. Just open up the can of diced green chilies and tomatoes, or tomatoes and green chilies, it says. They have a mild one. That's usually what I buy. They have a hot one. I think they even have a extra mild or something.
Rotel's something everybody.
Surely everybody eats Rotel,
Yeah.
right? Do you consider that queso?
No, that's
Okay.
Rotel.
Okay, so that's Rotel.
It's not even like nacho cheese to me.
So queso. So here's another one, the dump method for doing on the smoker. Now,
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't
I've seen
consider that
that.
queso? Because I do the same thing. I
Are you
dump
talking
it.
about with the Velveeta?
I use Velveeta, but I also put shredded cheese in there too. Sometimes I put a block of cream cheese.
It's
Couple-
cheese dip.
Okay. And you just put it in the smoker and you let it go to
And it's
stir it up, and it's really good. You still put your brown meat in there and you just let it all mix until it melts, stir it up, and it makes queso. So is queso to you just melted cheese?
White cheese.
So that was my third one. Do you want the authentic Mexican white cheese dip recipe?
When I hear queso, that's what I'm thinking in my head.
That's queso.
I don't know if I'm right.
Yeah, I don't think you are. That's just cheese dip. I think it's all queso. Queso means cheese. It could be any kind of form of melty cheese, right? Am I wrong?
No, I think
That's exactly what it means.
Hold on, I'm
There's
Googling
queso
it.
blanca.
But I'm with her, like, in terms of, like, when
In
you think
your
of
head,
a word,
yeah.
that's what you're associating it with.
I
Because
say, I never say, let's go to La Siesta and get queso.
That's true.
I say, I want cheese. And they ask me, you want cheese dip? I say, yes, grande, large cheese dip. So,
Queso is a Spanish word that means cheese.
huh. So it could be any kind of melted cheesy dip.
It can be any kind of melty.
All right.
And it says a classic recipe includes Velveeta cheese, Rotel.
Look at that. Look at that right there. Is that what are you on? Wikipedia from the hood? But anyway, so how I make that one, and it's an easy one, and it's what they make in the restaurants.
Your white cheese dip.
Yes. You have to start with processed white American cheese, Land O'Lakes if you could get it, or any kind of like the Kroger private selection that I used in
I think
the Brotherly Shove mini subs would work. But what you do is
you go to the deli.
you go to the deli. You're not going to find this on the cheese aisle. Don't buy that kind. Go to the deli. Tell them to cut you off a pound or 2 pounds, depending on how much you want to make. 2 pound is the big block. 1 pound is like half 1 can of block. So you start with that. You cube that up or shred it, whatever you want to do. You start with diced green chilies. That's what you always use. I end up usually putting a little milk in there. You could use the canned evaporated milk, not sweetened condensed. It's not a sweet dish, but you need some liquid to get it going.
I've used
And you
cream
melt
before.
that cheese into it. You can add a little bit of cumin if you want to, or a little bit of seasonings. But usually it's just processed white American cheese, a little bit of a milk product, and diced green chilies. That's all it is.
You put a little cumin in it, don't
Yeah,
you?
I always I usually put a little cumin. I'll put a little grande gringo just to give it a little flair. But it's really, really simple. And that's basic white cheese dip.
When you were out of town, I couldn't get my hands on the Land O'Lakes, or I didn't want to go to Walmart.
Yeah.
I just got the cheese from Aldi, the white American from Aldi.
That was it. Not as good.
Not near as good.
You have to watch it. Sometimes some of that processed white American cheese is real bitter. Like when you melt it for some reason,
It was bitter.
It gives it a bitter flavor. I don't know why, but I know the Land O'Lakes don't and the private selection don't. And I don't like the Velveeta
I don't
white
either.
queso. It has that flavor too. So I don't use it. I mean, it is a processed white American cheese, but I don't like it as well as I like the Land O'Lakes or the deli, version.
That Land O'Lakes is almost buttery.
It is. And you know what? I have put butter in my white queso before too to give it a richness.
Oh, really?
Just a few pats, because I figured Land O'Lakes, they make butter. Surely it's got to be.
But it just went in there nice and smooth.
Yeah,
It didn't
smoothed out.
separate.
I mean, that stuff always congeals up fast, so it's best to keep it in a crock pot on warm or something. Because how many times have you been to the local Mexican restaurant? They bring you out the bowl of white queso. It's thin, it's watery,
Mhm.
but then by the time you get 2 or 3 minutes, it's already started to cement up. It seizes up fast, so it needs to stay kind of warm. You can go get your wife's candle melter. Put your cheese dip in a jar or ramekin and set it on that candle melter. Perfect temperature.
That's
cheese
such
dip.
a good idea, actually.
Yes. You know what I'm talking about?
I love that. Yeah.
Put that thing to some good use. Melting candles.
Oh, so I did some investigating, and last week you asked me what are instant potatoes.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you?
Is it starch from potatoes?
It's just dehydrated potatoes.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The potatoes are cooked, they're mashed, the water is removed through dehydration, and they
So you just hydrate
Flake
them
'em.
back with some hot water.
Yeah. So
How come they don't sell
the more you know.
sweet potato, instant sweet potatoes?
That's a good
Tell me
question.
that. Tell me why they don't do that.
I wonder if there's more. I don't know.
I don't know, but you think they would. There's a whole new product for you right there. Instant sweet potatoes. You can imagine like how creamy, sweet potato, like souffle or any of those dishes that casserole would be if you had instant sweet potatoes to put in it.
Or just
I wonder if you could just take, orange sugar and mix it with regular potatoes.
orange sugar.
Or just add sugar to potatoes and make it the color and make it work.
I don't think that's
I
going to
think
work. Andrew made some buffalo chicken tots and posted
I saw
on the
that.
community.
That is you know what? When I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, that's the appetizer I get.
It's so good.
God, have you ever had those, Tyler?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man. It's basically chicken, like fried pieces of chicken, shredded up over some crispy tots, drizzled in like a buffalo-y ranch sauce, and then they put
think it's
peppers
both.
on it, buffalo and ranch,
Yeah.
all over it. And it's got some little kind of sweet spicy pepper, or they're not jalapenos, are they?
Some of them are.
Some of them, I don't know. They're good. It's
Sometimes they're red.
good. Yeah.
Those are.
I had that on my list to I want to do that recipe for something, a version of it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Oh, did you look it up? Yeah.
No, I said sounds really
Oh
good.
no! Look at the community. That's what they're supposed to look like. Rick did that. Who did those?
Andrew.
Andrew. All right. Shout out to Andrew. That's a good one.
So Mark wants to know how long it will take to thaw out a 22-pound standing rib roast.
Put it in the refrigerator and think about how long it takes to thaw out a turkey. That's 5 to 7 days. So I'd say at least 4 or 5 days. I would give it in the refrigerator. That'd be the best way to thaw it out.
What if you got to have it tomorrow?
Ooh.
Bathtub.
No, I wouldn't throw it in a bathtub. I'd put it in a cooler with some water and then change it out.
So let me ask you this question. Does it matter? Is your defrost time changed based on whether the protein has bones in it or not?
I don't know. I think it's more of the mass. The denseness of the mass is what changes your thaw out times. You got to get that core to thawing out. But see, that's the thing. When you try to speed thaw something that's big like that, you're going to have the outer parts they're going to thaw out first, and they're going to be in that danger zone of temperature while the core is still froze. So that's why I like counter thawing something or, trying to thaw it out another way. You never want it to get too warm for too long because you're encouraging bacteria growth. So that's why it's kind of dangerous to thaw it out any other way, but then leaving it in a controlled temperature environment and letting it happen slow. That's what they say, the professionals. I say if I got to cook it, I'm getting it thawed some kind of way.
A lot of people were commenting on the app being down.
Yeah.
So
we had the bright idea to update our website.
We had
because
to.
it was ancient, the HowToBBQRight.com website. And that's what the app was tied to. So when we update the website, it's what feeds the app. That's where the app pulls information from. So we did a complete rebuild with another company on our website, tested it, worked great, but we didn't tell them. I don't know why. It's probably my fault that we didn't tell them our app feeds off.
Well, we had to get that going, and now we're
back building a new app probably. So, or building a new update. So it's coming. It's in the works.
Sorry.
This
I
is
apologize.
way above our pay grade. We have to go outside of the company for that kind of technology, and it's just a slow process. But I do like the app, and it's handy.
Yeah,
When I'm going to the grocery
using it
store and I
all the
want to
time.
cook one of my recipes, I pull up the app and I get my list and I go through the grocery store. I need this, this, this. That's how I get it.
You know,
If I'm at home, I'll use a computer or something. But if I'm, out somewhere, just go check that out.
one of probably the recipe on the website that I pull up the most, or from over the years, I've pulled up the most is your Southern style potato salad recipe.
Really?
I love that recipe.
It's a good one.
I've done it a lot. Stephanie she posted a video of somebody making a cheesy pulled pork corn dog.
What?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
So tell me.
Okay, you know those Korean corn dogs?
Yeah. All the fad right now.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit. She took a skewer and put it on like a square cube of some sort of cheese. I'm assuming it was mozzarella.
Or like string cheese or something?
It was square.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then
how'd the pork stick? You just get it cold?
It looked like it was cold. It didn't look like it had a lot of sauce on it,
I would imagine you'd have to form it. You'd have to try to mash the cheese in the pork.
Kind of. And they just formed the pulled pork around it, dipped it in a corn dog batter and fried it.
And it all stayed because the stick was going through the cheese, I'm guessing.
And then they formed this pork.
Did you have to get it back cold? Like once you get all the,
I have no idea.
They must have had something in the pork to get it to be so malleable because
it was
really was like they didn't have to do anything else to it. They just
and then dunked it. I've got to watch. This is a video of this.
Yeah, like a short.
Oh, I got to watch that.
And then they fried it.
That's genius.
I thought so too. I was like, oh,
because like say
the pulled pork didn't look the best. But
I'm thinking like pepper jack cheese, and then dip it in it's like barbecue nachos on a stick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was my problem with it, was like that the pork was so malleable and so formed to this shape that I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, that gets me.
It was almost like a
You know how
dough.
we got this macaroni and cheese contest coming up?
Yeah.
What if you can make a macaroni and cheese corn dog? God, that'd be so good. And dip it in cheese. You dip it in melted cheese too.
I'm not a big fan of like fried macaroni and cheese because it's it's not saucy. It's so dry to form it.
Yeah.
But I wonder if you could get the shape you need with the corn dog and still have it cheesy.
I think so. You'd have to put something else inside, like another. So you got macaroni and cheese surrounding cheese.
Ooh.
So you bite into this cheese, and maybe you bite into this cheesy dog. That's we got to work on that. We might win a
there ain't no we.
Oh, you're gonna try.
We're going against each other.
Okay.
This is
I'm calling a rules committee meeting after.
What's wrong with that? Nobody said there's no version of it. It's macaroni and cheese.
the macaroni and cheese contest. It has to be like 80% mac and chease.
That would be
what it was.
That would be a lot of percent mac. How many?
Yeah, that was pretty much the only rule, right?
Yeah, I was just kidding.
I bet somebody's done it. I bet you could Google it. Surely somebody's done macaroni and cheese on a stick.
I love the idea of adding the cheese to the middle, so you ensure you got enough cheesiness for your mac and cheese.
Well, I'm thinking a lighter batter that would be almost like a tempura, so it gets crunchier, so it mimics the topping on like a macaroni and cheese that we make, where we put the panko on top. It's almost a panko-y batter instead of having such a thick like cornmeal batter. You know how like it's almost like a pancake batter or something that you use for corn dog. I mean, that would probably be pretty good too, but if you could get it like a crunchy, tempura, panko-y type batter.
That's kind of the Korean corn doggy.
It's not just a thick, like regular pop-up batter.
It's a thinner.
You can even put a hot dog in there. Macaroni and cheese around a hot dog, dipped in batter and fried.
A little ketchup drizzle.
Yeah. I was thinking ranch. A ranch drizzle with macaroni and cheese.
Ooh, or let me dip it in a good ranch.
Yeah.
I'm there.
I bet even marinara would be good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cheese stick.
Like a mozzarella cheese stick.
Tyler's over there getting mad.
Was you thinking something along these lines?
No, he just don't want you to win.
Oh.
No, I got like a really good recipe.
Are you just making regular macaroni and cheese?
Pretty strong.
I am.
Y'all better bring it.
I'm bringing.
I'm keeping.
What about lobster mac and cheese on a stick? You could take that lobster, put mac and cheese around it, and oh man, I got some ideas. There's no. See, where y'all messed up on this one is y'all didn't set a money amount that you can spend on doing this. Like a lot of times, y'all will put a budget. You can't spend more than $10 to make macaroni and cheese. That ain't gonna work.
Sometimes it's fun, but for this one, it would have ruined it because I feel like what makes a good mac and cheese a lot of times is the cheese.
My other thought was to bring in the big wheel of Parmesan, make my noodles and put them in there and do it in the wheel.
Light it on fire.
Yeah, put the vodka in there and light it on fire.
You don't get presentation points.
But it would be good, I bet.
Drew in the community, he shared a pulled pork queso recipe. Instead of basically he made rotel. Instead of putting sausage in there, he put pulled pork.
I bet that's good.
I know.
I never thought of that.
It's kind of like
put some ground. Like I like sausage, like just regular breakfast sausage. But the pulled pork goes with it because we put it on the nacho. So
it's like nacho, barbecue nachos already ready.
Did he chop it or pull it though? Because I wonder if it'd be, you know how pulled pork is, it would be stringy off in the cheese.
Yeah, you probably need to chop it to get but I bet it would give it a good flavor.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at it. Oh, I had another good eye for I've got so many ideas for mac and cheese. Oh, God, this one's good too.
See, my thing with the contest is if you try to get too crazy with it, sometimes it just doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to execute.
Oh, I could make this recipe. I could just use boxed mac and cheese and win.
What are you going to do?
It has to do with what I'm going to serve with.
Well, Malcolm, that's really all I got for you today.
That's it? How did it go so fast?
I don't know.
I guess it's time to start Super Bowl pre-gaming.
Yeah.
I got to find me somebody doing squares.
Well, now that we've talked about these buffalo tots, I'm
pumped up. I might make mac and cheese for Super Bowl.
You practice?
Have you ever done a mac and cheese bar? You know how you go to some weddings and they have it where you can make whatever you want?
Like a mashed potato bar?
Yeah, but do mac and cheese where you just got like
you can
noodles
do lobsters.
ready to go, and you got everything. You got everything, out there. You just kind of go through there and get your noodles, get your sauce. And
so you could pick your sauce adventure.
Yeah.
You could do lobster or filet or brisket.
Steak and mac and cheese. Don't you think ribeye mac and cheese would be good?
I'd try it.
Can't be bad.
Is that what you're going to do?
Oh, it's going to be better than that.
Is it like A9 or something?
Don't you worry.
I'm just doing basic.
I know what y'all are doing. If we had real judges instead of all these biased in-house judges, y'all home cook it.
See, I go back and forth with that. I don't know. It's hard to do in-house judging for sure with certain things. Certain things, it's much easier if you're like, oh, this is my target audience I'm cooking for.
That's right.
This is the mac and cheese. It's like, it's easy. But when we're in our office, it gets a little trickier. So
if you want to organize the judges and get outside judges, you can do that.
All right, we're going to take volunteers right now. Anybody want to come judge the mac and cheese contest? Y'all send your emails to Tyler at
Whoa, Austin.
Oh, Austin heads that up?
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to judge.
Well,
there should never be a problem getting judges to come judge a contest here.
It's getting them out that's the problem.
Get them to leave.
Especially after a margarita contest.
It's like you need to book hotel rooms and shuttles. It's like, all right, y'all got to go. We don't care where you go. We're going to drop you back off at the hotel.
Set up sleeping bags in the conference room.
But yeah, it is Super Bowl Sunday.
We do have chili contest coming up here at the shop Saturday.
Yeah, we're doing a chili contest.
It is. Now, for this one, we do have a People's Choice judging. So if you come out to the shop on Saturday, you can, we'll be able to judge some chili.
Yeah, you get a little ticket. It's free, completely free, but you get a little ticket, and then you go around to everybody's booth and try a sample of their chili, and then you drop your ticket into the box of the favorite, of your favorite. So we're doing it kind of two ways. So like we're going to have a People's Choice where the public votes, and then we're going to actually have judges.
So there's going to be two winners.
Yeah, there's going to be two winners.
And there's top three.
Top three in both categories.
In both.
Yeah.
So
we'll have top three People's Choice and then top three.
I don't know if it's full yet, but you can contact Austin at the shop and find out, or will. There's applications at the shop if you're in Hernando. Come by there. But it will be this Saturday. It probably starts around 9 or 10 a.m. Yeah, you don't have to cook the chili on site.
That's my favorite part about it.
Yeah, you can bring. This is one of those where you can show up, bring your chili, and you do have to heat it up here, I think, don't you?
I mean, you can
it's got to stay warm because the People's Choice is going to go over a few hours.
It's 11 to 12:30.
Yeah, so it's not. So it's not long.
Yeah,
we're talking an hour and a half. So yeah. So
I mean, it's up to you.
If you got a good chili recipe, I'm not sure of all the rules. You'll have to ask one of the guys. It's probably on the Facebook page for Malcom Shop. I'm sure the rules are listed probably. But anyway, y'all go check it out. If you need something to do, Tyler, you want to tell them about the community?
So we just started a new giveaway over on the Let's Get to Cooking community over on Facebook.com/group/H2Q community. It'll be the pin post at the top. And I know Super Bowl's around the corner, but I feel like we've done a lot of Super Bowl stuff in the past. So this year I want to try something a little different and do a Valentine's Day oriented one. So we're going to select top 5 winners. So pretty much all we're asking you to do is go to the comments of the post a video or picture of whatever spread you're making that special someone. And that it could be what you made them or what y'all went out to dinner to do, but just know that other people are going to vote. So then after you comment your picture, go vote on all your favorites. The picture with the most likes is going to win some knives, tons of rubs and seasonings, pretty much like anything you could want in our collection. You're going to get it. And then 2nd through 5th place is getting that All Stars flavor pack. So that's all the Malcolm's Line seasonings. And that's going to run till February the 21st. So you got lots of times to get those pictures in, just in case you're not celebrating on the 14th, still wanted to include y'all. So
I highly recommend y'all celebrate on the 13th if you're going out. It's a much better day.
Isn't that like a Friday anyway?
I think Valentine's is on a Friday.
Oh, it's a Thursday. So Valentine's is on Friday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So make sure you get those in.
Man, that Friday night's going to be crunk if you're going somewhere. Valentine's on a Friday.
I wouldn't want to be out doing it. Anyway, if you'd like to connect with, hold on, let me redo that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who you connected with?
If you'd like to connect with Malcom, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok,
X.
and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram and TikTok.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us this week, and we will be back again next week to talk more barbecue.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. What's that? Blow the whistle.
Yeah, blow the whistle.
That's why I pull it for the Eagles. They got too short rocket. We'll see y'all next time. We gone.